Sampurita pamita paramita balena Vidvansiyo kila kilesa samohajalang teneva landa arahang arahoti namang vandami buddha mamalang hadayetapetva Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Homage to the exalted one, the worthy one, the supremely enlightened one. Ekayano ayang bhikkhave maggo sattanang visuddhiya soka parindavanang samatikkamaya Dukkha domanassanam attangamaya Nyayassa adhigamaya Nibbanassa sajje kiriyaya Yadidan chattaro satipattanati Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu The most venerable Mahasangha, dear nun, dear friends in the Dhamma, today in this discussion we hope to discuss the topic of mindfulness. Mindfulness is one of the main doctrines that Buddha has explained to practice us for our inner peace, for our spiritual happiness. This topic is very, very important. When we refer some doctrines and discourses in Buddhism, many places we can see this topic, mindfulness. When Buddha explains 5 spiritual faculties, mindfulness is one of them. When Buddha explains 5 powers, Panchabala, mindfulness is also there. When Buddha explains 7 enlightenment factors, mindfulness is also one of them. When Buddha explains the Noble Eightfold Path, Samma Sati is there, right mindfulness. In this situation, it is very clear that this topic, mindfulness, is very, very important. One day, Venerable Chunda came to Venerable Ananda having a sorrowful message. What is that? Venerable Chunda says that Venerable Sir Ananda, our great spiritual friend, our great brother of Dhamma, Dhammasenadipati, Sariputta died. He passed away. At that moment, Venerable Ananda was so sad. He says that at that moment, I couldn't find even the directions where I am. I am so sorrowful in this moment. Having this message, Venerable Ananda again went to the Buddha. He says this message to the Buddha too. At that moment, Bhante Ananda says that Reverend Sir, I am so sad about this news. At that moment, Buddha asked a question. Anand, why are you sad? Why are you worried? Did Venerable Sariputta bring your sila, samadhi, panya, vimukti, vimukti jnana? Didn't Venerable Sariputta bring your virtue, concentration, liberation, concentration, vimukti jnana, so on? No, Bhante, he didn't bring anything, but he helped a lot to the monks. As a senior monk, he did a lot of things for the monks. That is why I am so sad. At that moment, Buddha says, Ananda, I have explained several times, many times, that one day we have to leave everything behind us. In this situation, we should make a refuge within us. Whatever we have dear and near, everything that we have to leave one day. In this situation, we should find a liberation, refuge within us. Buddha says how we make a refuge within us. Attadepa viharat atta saranana anya sarana. Dhammadepa viharat dhamma saranana anya sarana. Dwell with yourself as an island, as a refuge, with no other refuge. Dhammadepa bhikkhave viharat dhamma saranana anya sarana. Dwell with the Dhamma as an island, as a refuge, with no other refuge. There Buddha says how we make a refuge within us. There Buddha proclaimed to Ananda the importance of practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness is the only way how we make a refuge within us. Everything behind us we have to leave. At that situation, the real refuge that we can make within us is that practicing mindfulness. Making a friend within us. That is why we always say that mindfulness is the best friend. If our happiness depends on outside, in the material world, among things and persons, it means our happiness controlled by the outside world. Since our happiness depends on outside, anytime other people and things can change our happiness, because our happiness depends on outside. In this situation, we should understand if we depend on outside world, it means our life ends with suffering. If we are sure that my happiness depends on within me, in my understanding, inside, that is the thing that we can understand we have a refuge. Always we should check that whether my last happiness depends on outside or inside. Little by little, we should train our mind to come to inside, find it in this spiritual refuge, practicing mindfulness. When we refer this topic mindfulness, we can see many places in Tripitaka. Especially, we can see a very big discourse with details in Digha Nikaya, Mahasatipatthana Sutta, the great discourse of mindfulness. That is the biggest discourse in Tripitaka about the Satipatthana or mindfulness. Then we can find this topic in Samyutta Nikaya in Satipatthana Samyutta. And also we can see some information about this Satipatthana Katha in Patisambhida Magga. And also we can see about this as Satipatthana Vibhanga in Vibhanga Pakarana Abhidhamma Pitaka. When we refer these places, we can find a lot of information about this topic, mindfulness. The more we know this topic, the more we cleanse the path. Sometimes there are some information we can find other places that we can see in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, the great discourse of mindfulness. That is why we have to search many places finding information about this topic, mindfulness. That is very important for our practice. When we refer some discourses, Buddha says, Adimeva kusalesu dhammesu parisuddhehi selancha suvisuddhang dittincha ujukam. At the beginning of practicing mindfulness, we should cleanse the wholesomeness, kusala. Then Buddha explains how we cleanse the kusala or wholesome. There Buddha says, Selancha suisuddhang ditti chaujuka. It means we should practice virtue or sila before we practice mindfulness. Before we practice sila or virtue, we should have direct vision about the path. How do we receive the clear vision? That is said in Metta Sutta or Karane Metta Sutta. Dittincha anupagamma silava dassanena sampanno. Without going to extremes as Sassatavada or eternalism and Uchchedavada nihilism. Not falling into these extremes, we should find the middle path with the understanding of the dependent origination, Patisampada. In the Kacchanagotta Sutta, it explains that when a person sees the arising of 5 aggregates, or mind and body, if a person sees the arising of 5 aggregates, form, feeling, perception, consciousness, and mental objects, he doesn't go to the extreme of nihilism or Uchchedavada. If a person sees the cessation of 5 aggregates, he doesn't go to the extreme of eternalism or Sassatavada. These both extremes should be eradicated by one vision. What is that? Patisampada, Idapachata, or Ariyo Nyayo. This is Arya Nyaya, the theory of the Noble One. That is very important. At the beginning of the discourse, Buddha says, Nyayasa Adhigamaya. What is the meaning of Nyayasa Adhigamaya? Nyaya means Arya Nyaya, what we heard as the Suttamaya Jnana, the knowledge of hearing. We understood that as a vision, we have the Suttamaya Jnana, the knowledge of hearing. If we want to adhigama or achieve this understanding, we have to practice mindfulness as a meditation. Suttamaya Panya, Chintamaya Panya, and Bhavanamaya Panya. Suttamaya Panya we receive through listening to Dhamma. And Chintamaya Panya means the wisdom of contemplating or thinking. We always think what we heard. And also Bhavana me Panya, the wisdom of meditation. By practicing Samatha and Vipassana, we develop the Bhavana me Panya, the wisdom of meditation. Through practicing mindfulness, we achieve the Ariya Nyaya or the Patisampada. How do we achieve the Ariya Nyaya? Ariya Nyaya is divided into two. One of them is how suffering arises. Avidya pacha sankhara, sankhara pacha vijnana, and so on. Then other thing, how suffering overcome. Avidyhayatveva asesa viraga nirodha, sankhara nirodho, sankhara nirodha, vijnana nirodho, so on. We achieve the second part of the Patisampada. For achievement of this practice, we should practice mindfulness as a technique, as a mission. First of all, Buddha explains the benefits of practicing mindfulness. Ekayano vayam bhikkhave maggo satthana visuddhya. This is only path for the purification of beings. Buddha always explained his message for the purification of beings. That is one of his goals, what he explained the Dhamma. Sabba papa sakaranam kusala supasambada sachitta paryodapanam, purifying or controlling one's mind. We practice mindfulness for our purification of mind as ragakaya, dosakaya, mohakaya. This is the way how we purify our mind. The complete cessation of lust, anger, and ignorance. And also soka paridhavana samatikamaya, for the getting rid of sorrow and lamentation. We mostly suffer because of our ignorance. If we are ignorant, we depend on outside. When outside things and persons change, we are suffering. By practicing mindfulness, we take care of our mind. We keep our mind inside with mindfulness, then we can overcome sorrow and lamentation. Dukkha domanasana attangamaya, for the overcoming of pain and grief. And nyaya sadhigamaya, for the attaining of the theory of the enlightened one. And nibbana satchi kiriyaya, for the attaining of enlightenment. This is the only path, mindfulness or fourfold mindfulness. Here it is very clear that when we start this spiritual path, practicing mindfulness, we should understand several things. One of them is that this mindfulness is not alone. It consists with other 7 things in the Noble Eightfold Path. Before mindfulness, we should have right effort, right livelihood, right action, right speech, right intention or thoughts, right vision. Mindfulness is one of them in the Noble Eightfold Path. On the other side, we especially discuss this topic based on Vibhanga Sutta, which comes in Samyutta Nikaya, in Satipatthana Samyutta. Vibhanga Sutta is a very short discourse, but there are very important facts that we can see there. Buddha explains here, Satipatthānaṁ vo bhikkhave desissāmi, Satipatthāna bhavanaṁ Satipatthāna bhavana gamini patipadaṁ. O monks, mendicants, I explain three things: Satipatthana, mindfulness; Satipatthana Bhavana, mindfulness meditation; and Satipatthana Bhavana Gamini Patipada, the path that leads to mindfulness meditation. When I say that, I think your mind has a question. If it is very important, why it is not in Mahasatipatthana Sutta? You usually ask a question by yourself. It is right. But sometimes Buddha may had explained those things with details. However, we can search other places, we can find very special information about this topic. However, here in the Vibhanga Sutta, mindfulness is divided into three. One of them is mindfulness. The other thing is mindfulness meditation. The other one is the path, the Noble Eightfold Path. It means vision. And the mindfulness means Kaye Kayanupassye Viharati, Vedanasu Vedanapassye Viharati, Chitte Chittanupassye Viharati, Dhammesu Dhammanupassye Viharati. Keeping our mind, attention in the present moment, we contemplate on our body, feelings, consciousness and mental formations. There we keep our mind in the present moment. Keeping our attention in the present moment, we contemplate on our physical body. And also we compare it to other bodies too. We contemplate on feelings that we receive and also we compare it to others too. We contemplate on consciousness, our own consciousness, and also we compare it to others' consciousnesses too. We contemplate on the nature of our mental formations, and also we compare it to others' mental formations too. We can say this depends on the conventional truth. When we contemplate on the physical body, we always take something as there is something, as our breathing, our postures, our behavior, 32 body parts, 4 fundamental elements, 9 charnel grounds. We contemplate on these things, taken them at the present moment, but the form has already ceased. As a concentration meditation technique, as a primary technique, we take them in the present moment. But we have a vision. Even though we take here, we know very well, when we breathe in and out, we know very well, when I concentrate my mind, the form or breathing in and out or body has ceased, but I practice it for my concentration. When we reflect on 4 fundamental elements, Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo, we know very well it has already ceased, but I take it for a meditation technique to concentrate my mind. And mindfulness, so satipatthana depends on the present moment with the conventional truth. That is not the final truth, but we practice it as a technique which helps us to go forward on this path. Satipatthana Bhavana. What is the next step of Satipatthana? Satipatthana Bhavana, mindfulness meditation. Having that experience in the present moment, we contemplate the nature of that is situation. Samudaya dhammanupasse viharati, vaya dhammanupasse viharati. First we take our body in the present moment, then we can understand this body is a result of food that we have taken. Ahara samudaya rupa samudayo, ahara nirodha rupa nirodho. Samudaya dhammanupasse viharati, we contemplate on arising. Vaya dhammanupasse viharati, we contemplate on cessation. And also samudaya vaya dhammanupasse viharati, we contemplate on arising and ceasing. That is the mindfulness meditation. That is vipassana bhavana, insight meditation. The first one is samatha bhavana. The second step is that insight meditation. The first step, mindfulness based on the conventional truth. The second step, mindfulness meditation based on the ultimate truth. And mindfulness, the way that leads to mindfulness meditation is that Ariyo Attangiko Maggo, the Noble Eightfold Path. There we should have the Four Noble Truths too. As a Sutame Jnana, a knowledge of hearing, we should have a vision about the path. Having understanding with the path, with the Noble Eightfold Path, we start this path. When we understand the Four Noble Truth, suffering based on the Panchupadana Khanda, Panchakhanda, five aggregates. Katamancha auso dukkhang ariya satyang sankirtena Panchupadana Khanda dukkha. Dukkha samudaya satya means attachment to the five aggregates. Dukkha nirodha means releasing from the five aggregates. Bhara releasing the weight, that is dukkha nirodha, the cessation of suffering. And the path that leads to getting rid of suffering, we use the path, mindfulness or the Noble Eightfold Path, as the path to getting rid of this dukkha or the five aggregates. Mindfulness completely based on understanding five aggregates. This is very, very important. Please pay your attention very clearly. Mindfulness or mindfulness meditation based on understanding the five aggregates. When we practice mindfulness, we understand five aggregates, four nutritions, and we overcome Satara Vipallasa or four distortions, and finally we realize Nama and Rupa or Nama Rupa Vijnana, mentality and corporeality. We practice mindfulness to realize five aggregates for nutrition, for vipalas and namarupa. As the result of this practice, we come to the Nama-rupa Paricheda Jnana, the knowledge of understanding the analysis of mentality and corporeality. Sometimes you may think that we don't need a lot of information, we just practice mindfulness. Actually, you can do it if you like, but if we have this understanding, the path is very clear. We can go to the direct goal with a direct path. When we find some discourses and information in Buddhism, Buddha always has used a very special word, Yata Buddhena Desita. We should practice something according to what the Buddha said. Buddha explained. That is very important. In this situation, we can understand when we practice mindfulness, we can realize the five aggregates, we can realize the four nutritions, we can overcome misunderstandings or vipallasa, we can understand namarupa, mentality and corporeality, or mind and matter, and also we are able to release from the outside world and even inside ourselves too. And we can release from everywhere, and also we are able to make a refuge within us. That is the freedom, that is the liberation, that is the emancipation that everyone likes. Everyone likes happiness. Everyone likes satisfaction. Everyone likes freedom, liberation, emancipation, or according to Buddhism, enlightenment. For that, this is the main path. According to Mahasatipatthana Sutta, this is the only path. Why is that? When we practice mindfulness, all the doctrines as 37 enlightenment factors gradually increase, develop. We fulfill all the spiritual faculties as the result of this path, but it is very clear we should have clear vision about mindfulness meditation, and the path that leads to mindfulness meditation. Having this understanding, we start our spiritual journey wishing the liberation or emancipation. The first thing is very important. The foundation of this path is that sila. That is, I would say, sile patitthaye naro sapanyo chittang panyancha bhavayam. Having virtuous sila, practicing discipline in our speech and behavior, we develop mind and panya or wisdom. Sile patitthaye naro sapanyo chittang panyancha bhavayam atapi nipako bhikkhu soiman vijate jatam. In these stanzas, we can see wisdom in three places. That is very important, reverences. Please pay your attention very well here. In Jata Sutta, in these two stanzas, we can find wisdom in three places. Sile patittahaya naro sapanyo. Sapanyo is one of the places. Chittang panyancha bhavyang, again panya. Atapi nipako. Nipako is another place that is panya. The sapanya, the very first one is by birth, we should have some kind of knowledge or wisdom. Panya. That is uppati panya. If a person is stupid or if he is not a wise person, it is difficult to understand this reality. Sapanyo means, that is why Buddhism says, Panyavanta sayan dhammo, nayan dhammo dupanyasa. This dhamma is for the person who is wise. Then again, chittang panyancha bhavayang. There panya means vipassana bhavana, inside meditation. And nipaka. Nipaka means knowledge, understanding or wisdom that we receive as a sutame jnana or sthanocita prajna, the real knowledge for the occasions. These three things we can see as the wisdom what Buddhism explains. And having this understanding, we go forward. Especially, we practice sila or virtue according to the Noble Eightfold Path. We can see sila there, samma vacha and samma kammanta. Right speech and right action. When we do some activities verbally, we have a discipline. Before we speak something, we think again and again whether it is correct. And also when we do something by our physical body, we think it again and again whether it is correct. That is the discipline or virtue. When we go to the deeper level in this path, not only 5 precepts that we practice, but according to the Metta Sutta, Nachakuddhan samachare kinchi yena vinyo pareupadeyo. We don't do any slight wrong conduct which is concerned by the wise. And in some places we can say, Anumattesu vajjesu bhayadassavi. We are afraid of doing any slight wrong conduct. With this understanding, we give the priority to our spiritual goal. Having that goal, we always maintain our speech and behavior. Having this virtue sila, we are going to the first mindfulness. Mindfulness is divided into 4. Kaya kayanupassī viharati. Contemplation of body in body. Vedanasu vedanupassī viharati. The contemplation of feeling in feelings. Chitte chittanupassī viharati. The contemplation of consciousness in consciousness. And dhammesu dhammanupassī viharati. The contemplation of phenomena or mental phenomena in mental phenomena. These are the 4 areas that we can develop mindfulness according to what the Buddha taught. The very first one we can practice in 6 ways. Kaya kayanupassī viharati. When we go to practice the contemplation of body, we practice it in 6 ways. The first one is ānāpānasati, breathe-in meditation. When we breathe in, we are aware of that now I am breathing in. When I breathe in out, we are aware of that now I am breathing out. Why do we need to practice breathing meditation? One of them is that to concentrate our mind. The second one is that to understand the nature of our physical body. In one side, using these techniques, we understand our physical body. At the same time, we use it as a samatha bhavana technique, a concentration meditation technique. And anapanasati bhavana or breathing meditation is a very important meditation technique in Buddhism. We can see a lot of information about anapanasati bhavana in the Tripitaka in various places. But here it is explained in short only for as kayanupassana bhavana. But when we refer some discourses such as Girimananda Sutta, Anapanasati Sutta, Ananda Sutta, there we can see there are 16 steps of breathing meditation or Anapanasati Bhavana. There Buddha says, if a person practices one thing, if one thing is practiced, 4 things develop. When 4 things develop, the 7 things will develop. When 7 things develop, we realize 2 things. When one thing is practiced, 4 things develop. When 4 things developed, 7 factors develop. When 7 factors develop, we achieve 2 things. What is the only one thing? The very first thing is the foundation is that anapanasati. If a person practice according to what the Buddha taught, anapanasatiyasya paripurna subhavita anupubbam paricita yatha buddhena desila. If a person practice breathing meditation according to what the Buddha explained, he fulfills 4-fold mindfulnesses. When a person fulfills the 4 mindfulnesses, he fulfills 7 enlightenment factors. Sati, Dhammavicaya, Viriya, Piti, Passaddhi, Samadhi, Upekha. When those 7 enlightenment factors develop, we attain Vidya, Vimukti, knowledge and liberation. That is the descriptive way that the Anapanasati is explained. But here we can see only the first part of mindfulness in breathing meditation. When we practice breathing in and out, we concentrate our mind. When mind gains concentration, we compare this experience to others too. If I breathe in and out, other living beings also like that. Their nature is that they are breathing in and out. And also, we think that Samude Dhammanupassi Viharati, Vaya Dhammanupassi Viharati. We contemplate on arising of breathing in and out and cessation of breathing in and out. Arising and ceasing. Here we can contemplate on arising and ceasing in the primary level, the impermanence of our breathing in and out. But it is not only the way how we reflect on impermanence here. According to discourses, it is very clear when we gain concentration with this understanding, we find the causality. We contemplate on the causality, cause and effect. This form, this physical body is a result of that what we have taken as food. Ahara samudaya rupa samudaya, ahara nirodha rupa nirodha. Because of food or nutrition, this body appears. Because of the cessation of food or nutrition, this body also ceases. Then little by little we go away from the attachment of this body by this understanding. And also we think that attikayoti va panasa sati pachupatita hoti. We have an understanding about this physical body. There is a body, but it is not just a person. It is a result of some causes as food that we have taken. And anisyatocha viharati, we don't associate anything with defilements. Gradually we release our defilements which disturb our peace of mind. Nacha kinchi loke upadhyati, we don't take anything as me, as myself. This is not the final understanding. This is the way we little by little practice for the final result. And here we use Anapanasati Bhavana to understand our physical body and to concentrate our mind. Then we go to the next level, Iriyapata. We have 4 postures. Standing, walking, sitting, lying down. We contemplate on these 4 postures that we perform in our day-to-day life. When we go, we think that now I am going. When we stand, we think now I am standing. When we sit in, we are aware of that now I am sitting. When we are lying down, we know that now I am lying down. We always pay our attention to our body posture. That is also one of the ways we concentrate our mind. And using this technique, we can concentrate and realize our physical body, as we mentioned the first step. And next we go to the Sampajanya Pub. Whatever we do physically from morning to night, Gate tite nisinne sutte jagarite hoti, so on. Whatever we do as eating, walking, sleeping, doing something, whatever we do physically from morning to night, we do everything mindfully with awareness in the present moment. Here, little by little, we trained our mind to live in the present moment. When our mind goes past and future, we are unable to recognize the reality. That is why, little by little, we trained our mind to keep it in the present moment by using these techniques. And also, we contemplate on the 32 impurity of body parts, such as Kesa, Loma, Naka, Danta, so on. Hair, skin hair, so on. One by one, we contemplate on as impurity body parts. Keeping our attention in the present moment, we keep them away one by one. This is my hair. This is my skin hair. This is my skin. One by one, we mentally separate. Not physically. Mentally, we separate one by one and we find, is there any permanent or person here? This is only the amount of body parts, then we understand the reality of this body, and also we again understand this body is a result of the food that we have taken. Then gradually we release our craving or attachment to this body by practicing this path. And also we contemplate on four fundamental elements: Patavi, earth element; Apo, water element; Tejo, fire element; and Vayo, air element. These are the material elements which consist of our physical body. Our body is the result of these four fundamental elements. We mentally separate these four things from our body. Then we can understand this is not another thing away from these four things. My body consists with these four things. By contemplating on this reality, little by little, we release, we overcome our attachment to the physical body. And also we contemplate on the next stage, that Navasivatika, the 9 charnel grounds. After we die, until it becomes the skeleton, what happens to our body? Uddumataka, Vinilaka, so on. Little by little, it is going to destroy. We concentrate and we contemplate on this nature, what happens to our physical body. This is the way how we practice Kayanupassana, or the contemplation of physical body, and also it helps us to go forward. By contemplating on our body, we realize the nature of Rupa Khanda, the aggregate of form. The aggregate of form, Rupa Khanda, is the result of food or the four fundamental elements. When we see a being who is living, this can be applied with our other parts, but four fundamental elements can be seen in everywhere, no matter whether they are living beings or material things. When our mind gains concentration, we go to forward, searching the second level, Vedanasu Vedanupassi Viharati, or the contemplation of feelings in feeling, Vedanasu Vedanupassi Viharati. Vedana can be mainly divided into 6 according to our 6 senses. Chakku Sampasaja Vedana, Kaya Sampasaja Vedana, so on. These are the ways that we divide the feelings. These feelings arise at the moment with their conditions, they immediately cease. Because of contact, Passa Pacha Vedana. Because of contact, feelings arise. When contact ceases, Vedana or feelings also cease immediately. We usually think that Vedana is happening continuously. If we have a headache, we think that since morning I have been suffering with my headache. But every moment that feeling arises and ceases. While we are having a headache, if a person makes a joke, we laugh. At the moment, we forget our feeling. That is the nature of the feelings. That feeling every moment arises and ceases. Sukha Vedana, dukkha vedana, adukama sukha vedana. Pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, neutral feeling. And samisa sukha, niramisa sukha, samisa dukkha, niramisa dukkha, samisa adukama sukha, niramisa adukama sukha. We contemplate on these feelings in various ways. As the result of contemplating on these feelings, in one side, we concentrate our mind in the present moment, and also we compare it to others' feelings too. When we understand this reality, we understand the cause and effect, causality. This Vedana doesn't belong to any particular person. This Vedana is a result of some reasons. Passa samudaya, Vedana samudayo, passa nirodha, Vedana nirodho. As a result of arising contact, feelings arise. As the result of the cessation of contact, feelings also release or cease. The next part of mindfulness is that chitte chittanupassi. Chitte chittanupassi means contemplation of consciousness in consciousness. The purpose of practicing Kayanupassana is that to understand in rupa or form. The purpose of practicing feeling is that understanding Vedana Khandha, the aggregate of feelings. The purpose of practicing consciousness is that understanding consciousness or Vijnana. And here, now little by little we have come forward. First, we contemplated on our physical body, then our feelings. Now we come to our mind, consciousness. What happens to my mind at the moment? Saragam va chittang, saragam chittanti pajanati. When our mind is lustful, we immediately understand, now my mind has lust. Vetaragam va chittang, vetaragam chittanti pajanati. When mind is not lustful, we immediately understand, now my mind has no lust. Sadosang va chittang, sadosang chittanti pajanati. When mind is angry, we immediately understand, mind has anger. When mind is not angry, we understand, mind has no anger. Samohang va chittang, samohang chittanti pajanati. When mind is ignorant, we immediately understand, now my mind has ignorance. Vetamohang va chittang, vetamohang chittanti pajanati. When mind is not ignorant, we immediately understand, now mind has no ignorance. So on, little by little we go forward. Sankittang va, vikittang va, mahaggata, amahaggata, sauttara, anuttara, samahita, asamahita, vimutta, vimutta. Sankita means contracted, vikita, distracted, mahaggata, developed, amahaggata, undeveloped, sauttara, surpassed, anuttara, unsurpassed, samahita, concentrated, asamahita, unconcentrated, and finally, very special thing, vimuttang va chittang, vimuttang chittanti pajanati. When mind is liberated, we immediately understand, my mind is liberated from defilements. Ayumuttang va chittang, ayumuttang chittanti pajanati. When mind is not liberated, we immediately understand, mind is not liberated at the moment. if our mind is fixed in the outside world, we immediately understand, now I have no liberation, I am controlled by outside, I should keep my mind to inside, then we can see liberation. And we are fully aware of our consciousness. We don't give any chance to anyone take our concentration, wisdom and mindfulness. Now we have taken our control in our hand. As the result of this gradual path with the understanding of the Dhamma or Patisampada, we have come on the gradual path by practicing the Noble Eightfold Path. Now we are fully aware of our mental condition at the present moment. We always try to keep our mind completely in mindfulness. With this understanding, we go to the next level. Dhammesu dhammanupassi viharati. Contemplation of phenomena in phenomena. Here, Venerable says, this is very, very important. The word of Dhamma is very important word in the Buddha's message. Many places, the word of Dhamma is used for many meanings. Here, Dhamma is used for wholesome, unwholesome, and neutral mental formations. Usually, we use Dhamma for wholesome mental states. But here it is used for wholesome, unwholesome, and neutral mental formations. First, it is used for demeritorious mental formations, unwholesome mental states, nivarana, hindrances, especially 5 hindrances. In this contemplation, Dhammesu Dhammanupassi, we reflect on mental formations. However, Venerable says, friends, we should understand mind and mental formations cannot be divided. Ekuppada nirodhacha ekalambanavattuka. Whenever consciousness is here, mental formations are also there. Whenever we drink a tea, water also there, sugar also there, and other ingredients are also there. Wherever consciousness is alive, mental formations are also there. When consciousness appears somewhere, at least we can see 7 mental formations, universal mental formations. According to Abhidhamma, Sabbacita Sadharana. Passa Vedana Sanya Chetana Ekakata Jivitindira Manasikara. According to Sutta Pitaka, 5 mental formations. Vedana Sanya Chetana Passa Manasikara. Nama. Nama includes 5 things. Vedana, Sanya, Chetana, Passa, Manasikara. In that situation, we can say, this arises first, this arises next, we can say. Ekuppada nirodhacha ekalambanavattuka. These mental formations arise together with consciousness. They cease when consciousness ceases. This is the nature. In another way, 5 aggregates we take together. This is very clear. However, here we do everything not physically, mentally, through our wisdom, through our knowledge and understanding. Sometimes you may think that how we take these mental formations besides vijnana consciousness. Actually, physically we can do it, but we do these things mentally for our understanding, for our liberation, according to what the Buddha taught. We do everything in the name of our liberation. When we drink a tea, sometimes you may say that, hello, a lot of sugar, I can drink it. Did you separate sugar from the tea at that moment? No. By your mind, you understand there are a lot of sugar here. Like that, we practice this path at the same way. We do everything for our liberation. We do everything to get rid of craving, anger, and delusion. Actually, this is a mental work, spiritual behavior. We are doing these activities mentally until we liberate from suffering completely. However, here, firstly, we contemplate on 5 hindrances: kamachanda, sensual pleasure; vyapada, ill will; tinamidda, sloth and torpor; uddhacha kukucha, restlessness and worry; and vichikicha, skeptical doubts. When those negative thoughts, unwholesome mental states, hindrances come to our mind, we immediately recognize now my mind has these kind of negativities. When we are angry, we understand now my mind has ill will, so on. We are always aware of these 5 hindrances. When they are in mind, we understand it. When they are not in our mind, that also we understand. If they come back to the mind, that also we understand. Here we are aware of our unwholesome mental formations, especially 5 hindrances. That is the very first step of Dhammanupassana, or the contemplation of phenomena in phenomena. The second thing is that skandha. Here, firstly, we have heard about Panchakanda as the Dukkha Satya, as the Sutame Jnana. Now we have come into the destination. First we ask the address. Now gradually we are reaching our town, the destination. Little by little we see the places, what we have already heard. Now 5 aggregates appear here. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. Now we reflect on these 5 aggregates and arising and ceasing of them. When mind gradually gains concentration, we reflect on these things. And also, we contemplate on our spheres, internal senses and external objects. Chakku, sota, gana, jihva, eye, ear, nose, so on, those are internal senses. And also external objects, rupa, sabda, gandha, rasa, forms, sound, smell, taste, so on. Those are the things one by one are concentrated by us here. Not only that, for one sense, there are 10 steps. For an example, when we take eye, chakku, rupa, chakku vijnana, chakku sampassa, chakku sampassana vedana, rupa tanha, rupa sanya, rupa sanchetana, rupa vitakka, rupa vichara. Every sense has 10 steps of the understanding. 6 to 10, there are 60 factors we realize here. They arise with the conditions. When conditions cease, those things immediately cease. We reflect on cause and effect, causality, the dependent origination here. Here, gradually, we are going to Nyayas Adhigamaya. First, we heard it through our ears as Suttame Jnana, the knowledge of hearing. Now we practice them as Bhavana me Panya, the wisdom of meditation or mindfulness. And also now we see the lights in the spiritual path, enlightenment. We find 7 enlightenment factors. Sati Sambojjhanga, Dhamma Vijaya Virya, Sati mindfulness, keen investigation, energy, rapture, tranquility, concentration, equanimity. Now we are coming to the higher level of mindfulness. Now we have catched mindfulness in our hand. As the result of having mindfulness in our hand, we are fully aware of our spiritual faculties. Mindfulness, keen investigation of Dhamma, energy, rapture, tranquility, concentration, and finally equanimity, upekha. When those spiritual faculties are in our mind, we recognize at this moment I have these positive, wholesome mental formations in our mind. When we don't have these things, we are aware of that too. And it helps us to develop it again. Little by little, we develop the duration of living with these mental formations. And as the result of this practice, we come to the conclusion, the Four Noble Truth. Already we have heard about the Four Noble Truth as the Suttame Jnana. In Sammaditthi, Dukkhe Jnanam, Samudaya Jnanam, Nirodha Jnanam, Magga Jnanam. Now we realize all of them in front of us. Now we understand what is Dukkha Satya, the 5 aggregates, and what is Samudaya, the attachment to the 5 aggregates. Nirodha Satya, the cessation of the attachment or craving. And we realize again the path, Magga Satya, the Noble Eightfold Path. Now we have reached the destination. Now we see through our eyes what we have already heard. Finally, we see the world as Sunyata, Animitta, Apanihita. Everything is empty. Everything has no essence. Our mind is not fixed anywhere, anything. And we come to the equanimity. We release our mind from the outside world, and at the same time, inside world too. We come to the top of the hill of Panya. Panya Pasad Maruhya. Asoko Sokinim Pajam. The person who practices this path comes to the summit of the mountain of wisdom, and he sees the ordinary people who are in the down level with suffering. He lives in this society as a lotus flower which origins in the mud and also which comes over the mud, not touching water or mud. That is the Padmopakara Jivita. It is like a flower that never touches mud or water. We have to discuss a lot of things. This topic, our time doesn't give permission to it. Therefore, the first session of this discussion we are going to end, and the next session we can discuss. Thank you for your good intention and attention and participation to this session. By the power of this spirituality, may all of us attain the final bliss of liberation. Sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Dukkham pantaja nirdukkhan, bhayam pantaja nirbhayam, sokham pantaja nissokhan, hontu sabbe pipanino. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.